Meghan Markle's dubious attempts at dazzling domestic goddess brilliance are no threat to her lifestyle guru rival, Gwyneth Paltrow. Who says so? Gwyneth Paltrow. Hardly surprising after the feeble ratings for the Desperate Duchess's Netflix flop With Love, Meghan. And Gwyneth is unlikely to be fearing for the future of her genuinely successful site Goop amid the all-too-familiar chaos engulfing Ms Markle's still stagnant site as ever. Just like Meg's former disaster, American Riviera Orchard, as ever, just can't seem to open for business. Yet again, the girl from Suits is mired in trademark troubles. It didn't help that she failed to sign the application form. Come on, Meghan, basic. But also, the overpriced tat she's keen to flog to easily pleased fans of dreary beige bric-a-brac needs defining. Officials are demanding to know exactly what the semi-royal saleswoman means by spoons for serving jams and fruit preserves, textile napkins, and crystallised sugar decorations, all of which are deemed to be indefinite or too broad. Efficient companies have to get the boring bureaucracy right. I mean, Meghan's great at being boring. It's her one true talent. So why can't she handle filling in a mundane form? No wonder Miss Paltrow, a proper Hollywood star whose wellness empire is worth $250 million, is not overly intimidated by an ex-cable show actress whose empty empire, as things stand, is worth approximately nothing. Ironically, Gwyneth's generous words about her Montecito neighbour came in an interview with Vanity Fair, the prestigious magazine that labelled Meghan a tyrannical bully to her staff and saddled her with a seriously toxic reputation among Hollywood's all-important movers and shakers. In other bad news, the Sussex's $100 million deal with Netflix is all but over after the less-than-dynamic duo's dismal horse sport dross Polo sank without trace, and With Love, Meghan became a universally derided global laughingstock. Contemptuous critics slammed the Duchess's cooking drivel over its banal recipes for bath salts and ice cubes. And young people on TikTok absolutely hated the epic irrelevance of her Royal Lowness's homemade beeswax candles and her strange practice of taking shop produce out of the manufacturer's bag and putting it into another bag tied up with a pretty bow. I mean, why? Meg's gaslighting bid to pretend that delighted Netflix bosses had commissioned a second helping soon evaporated when it emerged that they filmed Series 2 at the same time as Series 1. Far from delighted, the streaming giant's alarmed executives are reported to be extremely concerned over the negative reviews and now harbour major doubts that the Duchess's online store, in which they have a financial stake, can ever make significant profits. Are they merely keeping ties with her to be ready to roll if she divorces Harry? When, of course, finally, she'll be serious box office. But for now, the outlook is bleak for the 40-year-old Markle woman who has regally commanded that we call her Meghan Sussex. Well, we've had to think about that, Meg, and the answer's no. But through it all, she can at least still boast one superfan, her hapless husband Harry, who remains utterly beguiled by his Tinseltown wannabe wife. So this cruelly ridiculed royal romance continues to trundle on behind the gilded gates of their Californian castle in the sun. Much to the relief of those of us who don't want him back in Britain, the King's disloyal son can apparently carry on living in the good old US of A, because as yet he does not face prosecution over his American visa. But still, we don't know what he answered to that central question. Do you take, or have you ever taken, illegal narcotics? After Washington Judge Carl Nichols ordered the preposterous prince's visa application form to be made public, the Department of Homeland Security went all deferential and redacted most of it, blacking out huge sections to the point that precisely nothing was revealed. Nevertheless, the Heritage Foundation think tank has vowed to persist with its legal battle to have the truth made transparent. Let's hope that justice prevails. Then we'll find out whether old Ginger Nuts admitted his love for cannabis, cocaine and magic mushrooms. In which case, why was he allowed to even visit the States, let alone live there? Or, if the Duke deceived and said no to drugs, we'll know that the fifth in line to the British throne is just a two-bit little liar. Basically, Gwyneth Paltrow saying, well, she's no threat to me. And I think Gwyneth was genuine in that respect. Meanwhile, it just looks to me as if it's downhill all the way. She's trying to gaslight us, Meghan, saying, oh, it's such a success. It got 526,000 views in 5 days, in its first 5 days. By contrast, back in 2022, the gruesome twosome Harry and Meghan's documentary series, imaginatively titled Harry and Meghan, got 2.1 million in its first 5 days. You can see it's just not working out. Now, Netflix bosses keep saying, oh, yeah, we're right behind her, we're right behind her. But I think secretly or behind closed doors, they're extremely worried and they've got good cause to be worried.
I know, you're as always, Kev, you're absolutely right. And I think the reality is this, is that you get better numbers than Meghan. And you work...
Well, you're saying that like, well, even you get better numbers than Meghan. Well, of course we get better Meghan numbers.
I know, it's always interesting. But that's the central question is exactly that, isn't it? The publication and all this hurrah and farrar about Prince Harry and his drug thing and whether or not he revealed it on the visa. The one question that wasn't answered is, did you disclose it? Because in Spare Us All, he talked about his drug use very specifically. He talked about at the age of 17, first tried cocaine and so on and so forth.
It's like my drug use with a side of biography, to be honest.
Exactly. He learned his lines and boy, did he do a few. You worked on that. Hi, yes, very. The reality is exactly that. So you've got to look at that sort of principle. We want to know that question. I always say that sunlight's the best disinfectant. If you don't answer the question, people are going to keep on asking it.
Absolutely. Your take, Samara?
I mean, it's so obvious when you look at that redacted document and you just see sort of a QR barcode of what it actually is. You just see guilt written all over the page, because why would his lawyer have fought so hard to get everything redacted if he wasn't guilty of committing a crime? That's my simple question there. And Harry really does think he's above everyone. Nigella Lawson has had to face the consequences of her actions. Kate Moss, Russell Brand, the list goes on. Celebrities have always had to, this has always been a thing with the US Immigration Department. But apparently no, Harry's above us.
It's more than a thing. I mean, any of us, if we put on our form, I'm a big fan of coke and cannabis and magic mushrooms, we wouldn't be allowed there for a vacation,
I know you're absolutely
let alone to live. So the question is, in a very un-American way, was this guy given special treatment because he's a British aristocrat? What would that be about? That would be an affront to the American way, in my view. Or if he put no, I've never taken drugs, well, that's a lie. And that is a federal offence. It's a very serious federal offence for which, despite what Donald Trump said, he might be thrown out or deported from America. So the Heritage Foundation aren't giving up.
No, they're going to keep on going.
They're going to keep on going, and I think eventually they will win. Why on earth the American Department of Homeland Security has elected to defend this guy, to keep this guy, to protect him, to redact all of this? God only knows. What is it with them? We don't crawl up Harry's arse as much as they do. I mean, for God's sake, unbelievable. And the CEO of Netflix, Ted Sarandos, he says, she's underestimated as an influencer. People are fascinated by her. Doesn't matter. I'm not saying she's a mass murderer, but people are fascinated by mass murderers. Doesn't mean to say companies that can make money out of them. So being well known isn't necessarily a ticket to profit. So I think Ted is pretty desperate, like the rest of Netflix there. And now, I'll tell you what I found very, very cruel, is a lot of people have made parodies of With Love, Meghan. And this one in particular, I think, it's an absolute disgrace. I mean, okay, a little bit of gentle mocking, but you can take things too far. Look at this. Welcome to my beautiful home. What do you mean it's not my fucking home? Every morning I pick beautiful flowers from my beautiful garden and I feed them to my beautiful children. So what if you haven't got a fucking garden? I haven't really got any children. I hate fucking bees. Get me out of this bee suit now. I've always loved taking something pretty ordinary and elevating it. You know, like my husband. It's so funny that people keep calling me Meghan Markle. Because it's Meghan Sussex now! It's Meghan f***ing Sussex! Meghan f***ing Sussex! Meghan f***ing Sussex! Who is that guy? Who is that guy? I mean, that was too cruel. I mean, I don't know who that guy is, but he needs to be brought to book. Don't you think, Andrew?
I thought that was very convincing. The nicest I've ever seen Meghan look, quite frankly. I mean, glorious. So wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
Jail time.
Yeah, well, it was actually me. Yeah, I actually quite fancy myself. Always did, of course. Always loved myself, and now I fancy myself as well. Now, among the other mockers, it wasn't just me. There was an army of mockers. Was Jimmy Fallon. Check this out.
What is the #1 question that mystifies scientists? #1 question.
Mystifies scientists. Is there life on another planet?
Oh, no. Why does Meghan Markle make her own pretzel bags? They don't know why.
That's interesting. She takes it from one bag and puts it in another bag.
It's another bag.
And that confuses people.
Well, it's exactly as I mentioned in my monologue. I mean, that was the most striking thing. What would you do that? I've got this bag of crisps or something, you know. I've got another bag here. Hang on. Tie up with a bow. Yeah. That works. What an idiot.
Even the Los Angeles elite kind of turning on her. I mean, you lived in LA for a long time, Kev. I think you know, going back to the Gwyneth Paltrow comment, the worst thing you can say about someone at a party is, I don't know her. And that is really the backhanded compliment of them all.
That's right.
That's
but
what
she says she's met her, and she thinks she's very
I'm sure
nice.
she's met.
But she clearly, I mean, as we just said, Goop is worth $250 million.
Yes.
As ever, formerly known as American Riviera Orchard, is worth the square root of damn all. So, but Netflix are still saying this. I said,
Well, they have to. I mean, Ted, who I know, and
of course you do.
I know everybody. I know you. I don't know Samara. It's got to be good. Her thing matches my eyes. It's got to be good.
I don't know him.
The reality is they're not going to turn around and say it's a flop. They've invested millions in making sure it's a success. You keep telling people it's a success.
You know why they're hanging in? They're going to cancel the contract, but they've said we want to keep ties with her. They're not interested in Ginger Nuts because he's even less talented than her, and that's saying something.
He's on a special
folks.
talent visa, Kev. Be careful.
He's not on a special talent. But special needs visa. Probably not allowed to say that, are you? But this is why they're hanging on in there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why they're hanging on in there. For when she gets divorced.
Yeah.
If she gets divorced, they want to be in pole position, ready to roll with the blockbuster series where she spills her guts. What went wrong between me and Harry? Netflix want that. That's the only reason, in my view, they're not cutting ties.
Yeah, that would be the freedom of information request. You should say, if you have a look at that contract, I can tell you, I don't know if it's been publicly announced yet, the success they had with Beckham, for example, they're now doing one with Victoria. And that's that sort of side. So there's always a side deal to say, if this is successful, work on that basis. So absolutely, if things are going to happen, lawyers worth their salt would have put that clause in there. So freedom of information request, let's see that contract.
Yeah, but that contract is coming to an end. There's no way they're going to renew it. Everybody knows that. So everything you hear from Netflix, oh, it's so great, we love Meghan. It's because they've wasted $100 million on her, and they're desperate to make it look as if they haven't wasted $100 million on her. And here's one of the reasons why she was such a waste of money. They give her a cooking show, and she can't bloody cook. Look at this. Look at this. Look.
Oh, glorious.
Yeah, this is if you're listening to this on the radio, what we're looking at is well, it looks like someone's been sick on the plate. It's a green waffle thing with a couple of I think they're blueberry eyes and some cream around the top, which is supposed to be hair. And her poor kids. I mean, imagine what her kids did when they served... Oh, of course, I forgot to tell you, the policy of this show is that they don't actually have children.
Oh, is that right? Is that the policy?
Yeah, that's the policy of what just happened, that Harry and Meghan don't have children. But on the off chance that they do, she served the poor little brats that plate full of slurry, sludge. Disgusting.
Well, the other time, what they did, they showed this wonderful fruit plate, which must have taken days for all the staff to prepare. And they had little petals from anywhere, saying, this is like the common person, because that's what you have, a few petals lying around and a few spare hours to make that for your children every morning.
Well, if you watch the series, I watched as much of it as I could. I did watch a few episodes.
All 30 seconds.
I didn't get to the end, but I got to about episode 5 or something.
Right.
I thought, I can't. Life's too short, past the cyanide. But anyway, the entire show is just her constantly chopping up fruit and vegetables. Stop chopping up food. You imagine she's got a kind of knife sharpening squad next to her because so many knives. Next knife. And of course, she chops like a complete amateur.
Yes.
And then she gets that guy Ken Chong on, doesn't she? At the beginning of the series.
Yes.
It was a bad mistake because he comes into the kitchen and she goes, "How's my chopping style?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's great. You're a natural." Like chefs do. She's just another woman in the kitchen, so she doesn't have a skill base. That is the problem. With love, Meghan, to a bad ad. Take it away.
Fantastic.
It's your country again.
Back when they used to...
It's your
really?
country again, of course it is.
Back when they used to
We always
make
play
good
Australian
ads.
adverts.
I think that's right, absolutely.
Yeah, I knew that arse shot was, someone who's worked out, someone who's a Bondi Beach babe.
Yeah.
I knew that was
Is
definitely
that what it's
not
like
the
in
one.
Australia?
God, yeah.
It's compulsory.
Shot
But
yesterday.
it's like scenes like that, but that's surrounded by construction sites, right? With lots of guys,
basically.
builders everywhere.
Wolf
Loads of
whistling,
builders.
they can't do
But
anymore.
It seems like they're all driving massive trucks with huge wheels.
Scantily clad people. on the
Strange country, and on that bombshell, we better go to break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to part 2 of What Just Happened. Now, normally we go to the big moment, the big story of the week. Regular viewers know all about that, and we will in just a second. But, as you will have noticed, as eagle-eyed viewers will have noticed, Simon London isn't here. Hooray! We've sacked him. He may be back from time to time, seriously. I feel I better warn you. And it's the great Andrew Eborn, broadcaster, barrister, and magician. That usual skill set. Not so many people are able to do all three. He is a magician. So to prove that he can bring so much more to the party than Simon London, here's Andrew doing a trick.
Sorry, this is a bit of Alan Carr's dental floss. Here we go, we've got some of this. Watch. We can get rid of this in a very easy way. Here we go.
Oh my God! Oh, look! Look!
What?
What happened there? Did you burn yourself?
Just a little bit. Watch.
Oh my God, I think my top's on fire.
Name a time, Samara. Name a time.
2017.
2020 and 17 seconds. Let's have a
Yes,
look. If you watch
17
What did you do?
inside here,
Okay.
inside here, there's a watch here like
2017.
this. 2017, inside here, we said watch. Look exactly.
Oh,
the
look,
time
it
there
is.
is 2020 and exactly 17 seconds.
That's amazing. No, look.
Are you serious? Oh
What
my
just
God.
happened?
What just happened, indeed? That's amazing.
No.
That's amazing.
Simon's never coming back. I'm sorry. That's...
By the way, next time he asks you to name a time, say 20 past 8.
It's like
2017.
Sorry, that's how we do it
What
in
are
Australia.
you? Do you even live on planet Earth?
I
Honestly?
live in Australia, which is basically
Yeah,
not.
which isn't
yeah,
on planet
so
Earth.
sorry, that's how we learn.
Have you got the time, sport? Yes, 2017.
That is how I would say it. Thank you. God.
Well, don't say it like that. Say it use the English language. It'll help.
I'll try.
Right, let's get back to the big moment. That's incredible. See, no more Simon London.
Hey.
I'll tell you. How do you do that?
Right, amazing. It's magic. Well, I could also produce my next witness. That's what we're going to do.
You did slightly burn yourself.
I completely burned everything.
And you
My
set
hair
fire to
smells.
Samara's blouse. Amazing. Right, but that was incredible. Fantastic. Actually, you'll have to do some more of those. We'll incorporate magic into this show. Abracadabra. This show's brilliant. Right, the big moment, big story of the week. Well, I think it's definitely Donald Trump's phone call with Putin.
This is a social media post from Fox News stating that President Trump and Russian President Putin are currently speaking on the phone about ending the war in Ukraine after President Trump's statement that, quote, many elements of a deal to end the conflict have been agreed to.
Well, it was a significant call, was it not, Samara? That went on for 2 hours. And they emerged not with what I think Donald Trump wanted, which was a full ceasefire agreement, another 30-day deal. Ukraine had agreed to it. I mean, Zelensky in Ukraine would just do anything. What do you need, Donald?
Yeah.
Well, 3 bags full, sir. Jump, well, Mr. Zelensky, we want you to jump. How high? That's basically, Ukraine's doing everything he says. Now, he found out that Mr. Putin might be a different proposition. Putin, I think, is going to go out of his way to not do everything Donald said. But we did emerge with something, Samara, and I think the situation we're in now, it's a holding pattern. Let's see what happens. What did you think of it all?
I thought it was really interesting. I mean, their friendship is very storied, and he spoke to Putin quite a lot when he wasn't president. 9 phone calls, apparently, before he became president, in that interim period while Biden was there. So he's been talking to him post and prior. So they've got this friendship going, but I do think
Putin's so friendly with him, he kept him waiting for an hour.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Do you think the phone call... Well, so when he finally came on, hey, Donald, it's... Hey, Vlad, how's it hanging? Do you think that was how it started?
I think a rendition of that. But I do think Putin's strongman Tim.
What's up, Vlad?
I do think it was probably a bit like that, but both of them want to be strong, but Vlad has been in the game a lot longer than Trump, and I think that Trump did get a little bit sucker punched.
Putin was always going to turn around and have his red lines. He was always going to turn around and say they can never be part of NATO. You mustn't be able to rearm. So during that ceasefire period, you've got to make sure you're not sharing intelligence and not rearming them. But also, as you rightly point out, he turned around and says that deliberately, you can tell we don't do that, he's going to go ahead and do the bombing. And that's the reality. It's a dangerous time because I can tell you what Trump wants more than anything is to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And the way that he's going to do that is getting peace in Ukraine and getting peace in
Gaza.
In Gaza.
How's all that going?
Well, it's going very badly, isn't it, at the moment? And his Gaza Riviera, as opposed to Meghan's Riviera, you work on that sort of basis.
Yeah.
But that's what he wants. And I think we're going to see over a period of time, that's going to keep pushing.
Yeah, this is a chess game, and we're in the very early stages of this game. So I think the world owes Mr. Trump a debt of gratitude. He's doing his best to stop a horrific war.
Yeah.
And everybody piling down on him. I mean, why are they doing that? But it is going to be really difficult with Putin because what Putin already is proving and will be desperate to prove all the way down the line. Okay, you push Zelensky around, you're getting Zelensky to do everything you want, you've got Ukraine in the palm of your hand. Yeah. If you think I'm Zelensky and Russia is like Ukraine, you've got another thing coming. Yeah. Putin will be going all out to prove that he's a much tougher proposition. We wish Donald Trump well.
Yes.
We really do.
He doesn't know who he's messing with. Trump will come back too. Trump can do. Putin's gone and crossed him. Trump will come back stronger.
Yeah. Putin, neither Putin nor Donald Trump are weak men. So It's an interesting clash of the titans. If it leads to peace somewhere down the line, then give old Donald that Nobel Peace
Absolutely.
Prize that he will fully deserve. Right, let's move on. It still involves Donald to an extent. Back here in Britain, folks, we've had a hell of a scandal going on. We have a guy in the House of Commons, our Parliament. It's called Mr. Speaker. He is the Speaker of the House, like you have in the Congress and the Senate. He commands or, orchestrates all the debates. His name is Sir Lindsay Hoyle. He's been flying around the world for 2 years on 19 glamorous trips, charging these trips to us, the British taxpayer, £250,000, £250,000, flying to places like Los Angeles, Australia. He spent thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds on chauffeur-driven limousines. He's staying in hotels that cost £900 a night. He's buying meals for 400 quid, charging it all to us. And this is a guy, there's no need for him to go anywhere. He says it's fact-finding. Rubbish. So that's one scandal. The other massive scandal here we need to talk about is the civil servants, the work here, that work for the government. 20,000 of them get government-issued credit cards. These are credit cards funded by taxpayers, by us. Anyway, last year, they spent £675 million. £675 million, including £1,200 on luxury coffee pods in just 2 months. They spent nearly £3,000 on shoes when they went to a shoe shop in Barbados.
Yeah.
It's an absolute disgrace, isn't it? £675, check this out, on cardboard cutouts of celebrities, a shop that does card. What's that about? They spent something like nearly £2,500 on DJ equipment.
Yes.
And in the first 4 months of the Labour government, they spent £50,000 on beer, wine and spirits. We've been taken for a ride, haven't we, Samara?
We are, absolutely. And these are the same people that told us austerity, we're going to have a budget that's going to have major cuts. If you're a pensioner, forget about it. Go freeze in your bloody home. If you're a farmer, forget it. Everyone has actually received, all these vulnerable groups have received massive cuts in this budget. And then we see this spending and we think, sorry, what the hell is going on here? You guys are taking massive liberties with our taxpayer money. And the thing is, council taxes are getting raised, income tax is getting raised, all these promises are being broken. And what is it, to pay for this crap? I have no idea what it's to pay for, because the country's actually not improving in any living standard way.
Exactly. Check this out, Andrew. When last year Prince William had an event for his pathetic green eco crap, what's it called, Earth
I thought it's exactly called that.
Sorry, the very marvellous Earthshot organisation down in South Africa.
Yes.
38 civil servants, British civil servants, flew down there to attend His Majesty's. Is he His Majesty or is he His Royal Highness?
Yeah.
Whatever, who cares?
His Royal
to attend this event. Guess how much their hotel bill?
Go on.
£87,000.
Yeah.
It was about 4 days.
87 grand.
Yeah, they're wasting our money with these credit cards that we pay for. So the government's response is this. They're going to cut back. Only 10,000 civil servants will get this service, have these credit cards, and their limit will be cut back from 2,500 to £500.
Yeah.
But what we need is a Doge. Now, Elon Musk, if you're watching, I hereby invite you to come over here to cross the Atlantic with your chainsaw and take your Doge chainsaw to our ridiculous, overspending, obscenely extravagant government. Here is Donald Trump listing some of the American waste.
$22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples, $10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique, $20 million for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East.
$3.5 million for a contract for lavish fish monitoring. Yeah, what is that? And so on and so forth. When Donald there, he's a funny guy.
He's great. His delivery was superb, wasn't it?
Fantastic timing. But when he mentioned Lesotho, nobody knows where that is. That would have been a dagger through Prince Harry's heart.
Absolutely.
It's his favourite country.
Yeah.
I believe it's in Africa, but who cares?
Yeah.
So Donald Trump and Elon Musk,
yes.
As I said, are taking a chainsaw to this kind of excess. But we've still got it going on in spades over here. It's a disgrace, isn't it?
I know. I think the only positive about seeing those US speeches, it does kind of put our spending into a little bit of we can see that we don't spend as much, but that's obviously because our economy is not as big. It's mad. And it's nice that it's trickled down from America and we're looking at all these things. I mean, even there was this Ugandan judge that had taken someone as a slave that I was researching. And, you know, the UK is giving 60 million quid to Uganda per year just casually. So there's ridiculous. So much unrequited spending and we don't get anything back in return for it. And that's the problem. So I'm loving this America first and I wish we could have a bit of Great Britain first.
$59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City. Yeah. $42 million for social and behaviour change in Uganda. We're still shelling out for this claptrap. Donald has stopped it. Good for him. Let's go to a bad ad.
Presenting the exciting music of Georges Zamfir and his pan flute. The lilting sounds of this internationally acclaimed artist, featuring his distinctive performances of today's classical and popular music. The unique magic of Georges Zamfir and this special 3-album set now available from Philips Records. Part proceeds assist the Channel 10 Children's Medical Research Foundation through the annual Christmas appeal.
You finished. Have you got that album?
No, but I feel like if we didn't have a Doge, probably taxpayer money would go into funding that or something, you know? That's kind of
I like the panpipes.
I love an alliteration in an instrument.
I'm getting that album.
It triggers
and it's only 14 Australian dollars, which in British money is 1p. Let's go to break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back, part 3 of What Just Happened. It is time now. It's your section of the show. It's viewers' questions when you write in with your questions. And we answer them really, really badly. Off you go, Samara. What have you got?
I think this one's a good one for you, Kev. 1 million foreigners are now claiming benefits in Britain. Are you surprised by this?
Well, in the interest of accuracy, I have to tell you it's 1.2 million.
There you go.
1.2 million foreign nationals. That is costing us, in benefits alone, £7.5 billion. That's about, I don't know, $10 billion. They also cost us another £3.5 billion in infrastructure, you know, transport, housing. So these foreign nationals, they come to our country, right, to start a new life, you know, to make a new life for themselves. And their idea of it is they just come here and claim benefits. And we go, oh, yeah, all right, and here's the money. You know, they give them £11 billion a year. I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. I'm just sickened and I'm fed up with it. Why is this country the softest touch on earth? No wonder millions of foreigners, migrants, try to break into the country. You know what happens? It's just as bad used to be under Joe Biden, almost as bad. But when the migrants illegally cross the English Channel, when they sail here, they arrive in our country, basically they've broken our laws. They arrived in an illegal vessel, they mostly throw their documents away. This is illegal, they've broken the law. And what do? We put them in a 4-star hotel, we give them £45 a week, we give them free food, we give them free doctors, we give them free dentists, and we pay for their lawyers as they stage their case to stay in the country. And people go, oh, we got the asylum seeker crisis. Gee, I wonder why. We don't have deterrence, do we, Andrew?
No, you're right.
We have incitement.
It's totally an incentive, and this is what you need to do. You need to tell people, if you come here, we're not going to spoil you rotten. And it's exactly the point you made beforehand about the government waste. And we need Starmer to do a Trump speech, maybe with the same sort of delivery. That'll be the day, because the contrast is so enormous, isn't it? But another waste. Charity begins at home. And that's what we need. We've got so many issues here we need to deal with. Let's do those first.
It's just ridiculous. Something has to be done about it. 1.2 million foreigners are now claiming benefits, but actually the full statistic of the number of people in Britain claiming benefits, it's everyone. Everyone in Britain now claims benefits. Do you know what our benefits? Seriously, I'm exaggerating, of course. I don't claim benefits. I should. I'm going to. Everyone else does. Why not? Do you know what our annual welfare bill is in this country?
How much is it?
320 billion.
No.
320 billion. And we've given away 815,000 brand new cars to people claiming disability benefits. Some of them may need them. 44% of those cars go to people with mental health disabilities. Why do you need a new car if you're depressed? You know. Next question, Samara.
According to a study, 40% of Gen Z don't want to work due to mental health issues. What has happened to young people?
God knows. Now, I have to tread carefully here. Mental health should be taken seriously because a lot of people do suffer from serious mental health conditions, serious mental health problems that hamper their lives, that make their lives very, very difficult. But 40% of Gen Z, young people, are saying they've got so bad in terms of mental health that they can't possibly work probably for the rest of their life. 40% of them don't want to work due to mental health issues. I think they should be told to piss off and get a job. Most of them. Not all of them, but obviously people are swinging the lead here. Yeah. People are lying. It's a scam. It's a scam. You know that on TikTok, all these advice. If you go to assessors, there are people assessing young people that say, shall we say, age of 22, don't fancy working. 1 in 4 people under the age of 25 in this country have resolved never to have a job in their lives, and they're turning to the state for money, and they're gaming the system. You know what you have to say? Say you've got suicidal tendencies, suicidal thoughts, you'll get signed off for life. People, Andrew, are getting signed off at the age of 22, 23, are getting signed off for work for life. Yeah. They're going to get benefits for life, mental health conditions, on the phone. The assessor does it on the phone. They don't even see someone. No, it's a scandal.
And as you rightly say, there are those who genuinely need it, and we don't want to detract from those. What we need to focus on are those who abuse the system. Those who genuinely need it, we've got to make sure their benefits are not cut. We've got to make sure there's sufficient to look after them. But those who are abusing it, we have to call out. And you're right. So they're now going to get AI to start assessing people. They have this thing about the benefits cut, how they're going to be looking at people working.
AI?
Exactly.
What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly.
They'll soon work out that system, won't they? They'll soon game that.
And that's the problem. Gaming the system. Call out the gaming of the system.
Now, you're a young person, Samara.
Thank you. Oh, right.
No, not you. You're a young person. Now, when I was young, actually, when we all came out of university, most of us, I suppose because we're middle class and all that, but we worked our backsides off. We found our careers exciting and we wanted to get to the top. And you're like that. But so few people that I meet of your age seem to be like that. Why is that? Why are they all such lazy little sods?
This was inevitable. This was always bound to happen because our generation has been parented by these helicopter parents. Do you want something, love? Do you need something? Do you need a snack now? Do you feel sick? Do you feel depressed? Do you feel anxious? Go see a psychologist. Those are the type of parents that has raised this generation who's now going to be dependent on benefits and everyone else is going to have to foot the bill for that.
Yeah.
I do think it's this actual institutional problem that's been happening for a long time, and now we're paying the price, Kev.
Absolutely. You're quite right. And Andrew West-Streeting, our health secretary here in Britain, he said that the problem is over-diagnosis, and I think he's bang on the money there. Yeah. Absolutely right. So you got all these kids, you know, I'm a bit depressed, you know, I've got anxiety and stress. And they go, oh, right, you don't ever go to work, and here's all these pills.
Yeah.
And all they are is they're just a bit sort of screwed up. They're just sort of typical kids.
But absolutely, people growing up on that sort of basis, and I hate labels, and we're so quick to suddenly say, here's a label, we're going to put that to you, and therefore you're signed off forever. What we also need, also need are role models. We need good role models. When people growing up now, you want to be ambitious, you want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a TV presenter, that sort of stuff. What's happening now? They all want to be influencers or something.
We have been mollycoddled. We are an anxious, sensitive generation, and if you get a bad look by your boss, I know friends that are like, I never returned to work because my boss yelled at me.
I'll tell you what you lot are, not you, but what so many people of your generation are, pain in the arse. They really are. Let's go to a bad ad.
Bring the good times back to life with Pacific's new True to Life colour film.
Now, that's another Australian ad. You do know now that, you know, in other countries we have phones and we can take pictures. We don't really need film and cameras anymore.
Oh, my God, that's very chic. That's very new age.
What will they think of next?
It is glorious. I love that advert. Come on, it made you feel good, and it made you go back. I used to represent Fujifilm, and they used to... One of the things...
Of course
I did. We used to do what we called suck, which is a...
what?
No, it's called a single...
In Japan on the business trip.
Pay extra for that. It's a single-use camera. And they used to basically, when they're going from the stage to digital to those sort of roll things, they used to be able to get those. So you do like a David Beckham one, your Man United one, you brand it. And it was brilliant. You put those on weddings and so on and so forth. A great way of doing things.
Well, I'm going to tell a story now, and the producer can keep this in the show or not. It's up to him. I used to work for, when I was at university, I got this job.
What's one of those? Is that when 20-year-olds had jobs?
Summer holiday job. And it was at Gap Films.
Yes.
So it was quite a good job. I used to have to sit in this dark room, and all the films that had been sent in, the people would forget to put their name and address on.
Right.
So my job was to go through all these films, all these holiday stats, and write out my description of the films, so that they would then, Gap would then produce this long list, so that if you realise you forgot to send your address in, you get my list, which would describe, that's my film, right? So I decided to do this for about 8 weeks. So at first I was doing it all seriously. Now after about 4 weeks, I was getting so bored. So I started putting hideous woman in disgusting red dress next to a man who really should not be allowed to live with the most revolting children I've ever seen in my life.
That sounds like one of your TV reviews, Kev.
And I got sacked.
Oh, no.
And on that bombshell, let's go to a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to this blockbuster edition of What Just Happened. It really is a good one, I think. And we're going to finish, as we always do, in the fourth section with the complaints department, when we go through the thousands of messages you're kind enough to send us, and we sift out some of the ones that we think are broadcastable on a family show. Ladies first. Andrew.
I thank you. The host rudely interrupts. It is insufferable. Allow your guests
What did you say? Hey, what?
Allow your guests to make their point. Take turns, Kevin. That's what she says.
No, I'm the host. It's my job to be rude. Who's that from?
That is from Yosemite Sam.
Yosemite Sam? That's not Yosemite Sam. Samara.
Gill says, love you, Samara, looks, brains and humour. I hate your fiancé. I hate him too, Gill, so...
Did you mention your fiancé?
Let's not get into that.
You hate him too.
All right.
Right, Andrew, go on.
There's a pattern here. Love your show, but quit interrupting your guests.
What'd you say?
Or don't
Sorry,
bother having them. Don't bother having them, says Linda4567X.
Well, Linda4567X, maybe you could be onto something. I mean, you know, these two, they're all right, but it's all about me, isn't it? So next week, what just happened with just me? I think that would work for me. Samara.
Roxanne says, I watch your show every Saturday. I think you're so much fun. So happy I found your channel from San Diego, California. That's
San
so
Diego,
nice.
I know it well, Roxanne.
There you
I used to go down there for weekends a lot when I was living in good old LA. Thank you. Lovely message. Have you got a lovely message for us?
Well,
Andrew?
this isn't lovely at all, but lawyer Stewart from Loudon says fake Samara needs to pick an accent and stick with it.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not really,
so true.
Who the hell chooses to pick an Australian accent?
No, that's true. Every time I go home, they're like, you've changed.
Oh, do they think you sound English?
They think I just sound like an absolute... anyway.
Yeah, well, no, but that's what... when I used to live in the States, you used to come back and people say, why are you talking like that?
Yeah.
Because it does affect you the way you
You become a chameleon, don't you?
I am.
It just does affect you. I mean, I used to rail against it, but you would still sort of suddenly say faucet instead of tap.
Elevator.
Yes, but elevator. And by the way, water in America, you just have to say it in the American accent. You go, could I have a glass of water? They go, huh? Glass of water, please. Huh? Water. Oh, water! Andrew. No, sorry, it's not Andrew, is it?
Well, yes. The AWG says, Samara, the show is not for you. Haters like you don't have friends. This show will not work out for you. That's pretty true, actually. Meghan...
This show won't work out for any of us.
Meghan is going to be a millionaire. This show is so much more than what your eyes saw. Jason Knopf is a pure liar. And he knows... We know the real Meghan. You are so jealous.
You know what that's like?
It's a very long paragraph.
That reminds me of
Good Lord.
Austin Powers.
Yes.
You know, when he's been frozen for 50 years, he goes, I want a ransom of $1 million. And everybody starts laughing. She goes, Meghan's going to be a millionaire. Oh, big deal. Go on, Andrew.
Extraordinary stuff. And they're all having horrible things about poor old Samara. Where on earth did you get Samara Gill from, it says here?
It's a very good question.
Yeah,
it's a great name. Cartier Love. Do me a favour.
Cartier Love.
Oh, my God.
I'll tell you what, Cartier Love. It's a Cartier Love. I don't really know where we got her, but we're stuck with her now. So what have you got?
Yeah, sort of manifested. Flynn has said, Samara, I agree with you all the time, but you're just boring.
Oh, you got my message.
It's a love fest, isn't it?
You got my message.
If you see me with a tub of ice cream just crying my eyes out, thanks, Flynn.
That might be the worst complaint we've ever had. At least I only get I'm a badly behaved, rude and awful.
Kev never gets boring.
I never get boring. You know what we're going to get next week?
Yeah.
Loads of you're so boring.
Yeah, I know.
You're not boring, Andrew. What have you got?
Excuse me, says angry fella. Sydney was founded by convicts, but not Melbourne. Thank you very much.
Someone said, stop shouting, Kevin. Loud does not equal funny. I
do shout a bit, don't I?
Agree to disagree.
Do shout a bit. Time for a bad ad!
You don't have to be a star to appreciate this bar.
Just the three sensations in a Cadbury Chocolate Supreme.
Crisp, light wafers, lots of peanuts, covered in Cadbury Dairy Milk Chocolate. Make this the 3-star sensation bar.
You don't have to go too far to love this bar.
A Cadbury Chocolate Supreme.
3 sensations in one bar.
So if I was in that advert, if I was in one of those actors, I would say, we're doing all this for this stupid little chocolate bar. It didn't look very special. Do you know those bars?
Yeah, they're delicious. Cadbury
Of course
chocolate.
they are.
Cadbury chocolate in Australia is much better. It's
is it? Because they put much more sugar in it.
Yes, and more different additives and things. Yeah.
And on that sugar-based bombshell, this is the end of the show. Big thank you to our special new guest, magician Andrew Eborn. I think we should get him to do some more tricks. I'll try one next week. probably won't work out as well. Samara Gill, her blouse is no longer on fire, which is the good news.
There's a hole in the
Thanks
back.
again, Samara. Brilliant show. Thank you to all of you. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, right here for another edition of What Just Happened. Don't miss it.